Hi, and welcome to Rich in Relationship. And today I'm talking to Malinee Churanakoses, the co-founder of Chapter 2 Club. How are you, Malinee?
Hi, Rich. So happy to be here. I'm
I'm so
great.
happy to have you here. We just saw each other last night.
I know we did a wonderful workshop, or you did a wonderful workshop for
We
chapter
know
two.
it was a group work for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so glad to have you here. And I know you're busy like all of us. So I really appreciate your time. And the first question that I ask everyone is, how did your passion, how did your heart lead you into the co-creation of Chapter 2? And what's Chapter 2 about?
So I have been divorced for almost 3 years, and my sister has been divorced for probably almost 8 years now. And the original vision and passion was hers about 5 years ago. And she had started Chapter 2 Club as a way, she realized that there was so much information out there online and everything was just jumbled up and it was just too much, and she couldn't decipher it. And she really just wanted to have a group of female friends that she could kind of turn to and rely on for support and guidance, who had been through it before, through her journey.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she didn't have that. And so it was her original vision to start Chapter 2 Club. And then when I went through mine about 3 years ago, during COVID earlier this year, she decided to kind of revive it because she had started it about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then as more of like a blog post podcast. And then
Mm-hmm.
this year, when COVID struck, we decided together to revive it and go forward in making it so much more. So that's where the vision started. And the goal of it is to bring together a community of like-minded women going through a breakup or divorce, and providing them resources and tips and
Mm-hmm.
workshops, hangouts, blog posts, video content, just everything that they might need to go through their journey to the next chapter. And then in like a supportive and trusting environment with a bunch of girlfriends that have gone through it before, and also getting resources and tips from experts in the field like yourself.
Awesome. Awesome. So it started out as a podcast and a blog post. And my understanding is that had some pretty good traction.
Yeah. She got really good traction. I think we had or have like 15,000 Facebook followers
Wow.
on that. Yeah. So
Wow. Yeah. So she must have been putting out some really good content. And now what you're doing is you're taking that energy, that momentum, and that the spirit of that content and transforming it into something even more impactful.
yes, absolutely.
I love the idea of a hangout, a sisterhood, a place where you can get tools, a place where you can connect with other people. And it makes so much sense, especially given how much connection we're all doing right now.
Yeah, and it's nice, because during COVID, everything is online. And so we're able to, women are able to just, look at the content and get the resources they need from the comfort of their own home and feel, safe and secure, and that they've got someone that's, got their back and has been through it before.
Great. And so when did you formally launch the club?
We formally launched Chapter 2 Club's website probably about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, let's say.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what kind of content are you generating so far?
So right now we have blog posts, podcasts, we have virtual workshops, we have video clips, we have hangouts, and we have just a bunch of resources and information from experts in the field, along with stories from members, and people can also post questions. We've got the Facebook group, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn. I
You
forget
got
any.
10 million ways of posting. And if you actually want to connect with people live, you've got the Facebook group. You're doing some Google Hangouts. You're doing some educational pieces, but I guess the educational pieces are less connective and more resources.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so actually, since we're in it, right? If I were a divorcing woman and I were looking for such a place, how would I find you and how does it work?
So just go to chapter2club.com and you can see all the different categories of information that might, speak to you. And you can sign up for a workshop. You can watch any of the videos, listen to any of the podcasts. You can go on our Facebook page and connect with us there. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah,
YouTube.
if I just want to check, what's the difference between being a member and being someone who's checking you out? How does that work?
So right now membership's free. So if you sign up to be a member, it's free for the first year since we're kind of in this beta stage.
What a
Um,
deal.
yeah. And we're still working out the kinks and things, and we would love to hear everyone's input on what they need and what they find useful, so we can kind of craft the website and cater it specifically towards what everyone wants most.
So
Um,
it's
yeah.
free, but what you're hoping for is feedback.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
it's more than feedback. Maybe it's like people really sharing what they need. All right, this is working,
yeah,
but what's missing is
right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, we think we know what generally is working just because we both have been through it before, but obviously we want to hear from our audience and support them through their journey. So if there isn't anything on our site that, people are missing, we would love to be able to, add that to it. So.
And you mentioned earlier that you have some content categories. What do you have there?
So content categories is like a new start, dating, co-parenting, ex-relations, um, health, beauty, and home. There's tips on servicing your car. There's
Mhm.
tips on fashion from fashion experts. There's tips on like home design. So we've got like a home health beauty section along with, financial advice, court systems, legal advice from
Wow.
experts. Um, what else? There's divorce coaches that are contributing. There's psychologists. There's licensed marriage and family therapists. There's licensed social workers such as
Mhm.
yourself. Just every category you can think of that you might go through a breakup or divorce, we have the resources that you might want. It doesn't replace you needing to hire an attorney or finding a therapist for yourself, but it's just a way for you to kind of gather information that maybe it's going to save you some money before you actually need to hire those people.
So let's talk about that for a second. Let's say that you're new, like to divorce. Maybe you've just filed, or maybe you've just received your papers, or maybe you're thinking about it,
Right.
and you're looking for resources like Chapter 2 offers. Where would you start that person out? What are the first things they really need to learn about?
Well, they can just go on the website and kind of look at the different categories and see what caters to them. But we're actually in the process right now of putting together a more customized platform so that they would be filling out like a questionnaire, and then the content that speaks to them, whatever stage that they're in their breakup or divorce, that would then get
Mhm.
fed to them.
Yeah,
So,
so I'm hearing that
yeah,
you've got resources on the divorce process. So I'm imagining if there isn't already, there's probably going to be content like different kinds of divorces that are out there, depending, which is tricky because you're probably international, if not national, and in America it's different in every state.
yeah, so the content that's from the experts are, they obviously live in states, and the state by state is, they can only speak to those states, right? But so the information that we provide is kind of like an overview,
Hmm.
but you obviously, wherever state you live in, you need to, contact those.
But I think pretty universally, you can say that there's a choice between litigation and mediation. So you could educate people on the distinction between them. And in some states, there's what's called collaborative divorce. I don't think all states have that yet, which is somewhere in between mediation and litigation. Yeah, and then there's all the good stuff that follows that. I mean, if you're getting divorced and you have children in your life, there's so much that you
Yeah,
need to do.
co-parenting, we've got a lot of content and we're gathering a lot of content from different resources and experts on co-parenting. And that's a big topic because that kind of touches a lot of, I have kids myself. My sister has kids and everyone's at a different stage and age, of their kids. So there's a lot of issues with that
You know,
and a lot of resources, helpful resources.
people love a good story. Are you game for telling us a story?
Sure. What do you want to know?
All right. So when you first got divorced to when you finished the divorce,
Yeah.
what were the things that really helped you?
Well, mine luckily was very amicable. And so what really helped me just personally through it is making a list. I'm a huge list maker.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to kind of write out the steps I needed to take to go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually also helped with the website as far as the content that we're putting up there, things that people need to know and do through their process, right? But for me, that was really helpful in kind of like checking off, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to find an attorney, I need to find a therapist, I need to, contact my tax CPA, just all the different things that I needed to do logistically. I wrote down in like
Mm-hmm.
this Excel spreadsheet, and that was really useful for me. And then there's the emotional aspect of it. You need to, you know, find a therapist or a divorce coach and kind of just do a lot of self-care and self-introspection. And,
Yeah, very wise.
I think there's really two sides of divorce, right? There's the logistical saying that there's the emotional, and there's steps for both, right? And I think you need to do them at the same time as you're going through it, because both are really important.
Very well said. What are some of the things that you did to take care of yourself in that process? I mean, I heard part of it was you got some outside help, but what else did you do?
Yeah, I was so for the emotional part, I used to belong to a gym, and I used to
Those
do
were the days.
a certain workout routine. And one of the things that I knew that exercise was still important, but one of the things that I did was I switched to yoga because I
Mm-hmm.
felt that was more healing for me. And everyone's different, right? Not everyone is into yoga, but for me personally, I found the exercise routine that spoke to me and that helped me heal emotionally through that process. And yoga was really one of those exercises that
Yeah, no, I can see that. Part of trigger management, I think I get to do a presentation on this with you in the future. Part of trigger management is all about growing your cerebral cortex, the part of your brain that's thinking and aware, and shrinking your amygdala, which is the one that's always looking for danger. And yoga is a form of mindfulness. So it's really calming. And what's really cool about it is you not only are calming your mind, but you're also pushing all that cortisol and adrenaline that's been built up from anxiety and from confrontation out of your body at the same time. I could see how that would be really healing.
Yeah, it really was. I highly recommend it. And then, switching, I mean, I'm kind of like 3 years in now to my divorce, and I'm not as, I'm able to kind of move forward with, myself. And so I bought a Peloton bike. And so I'm doing that workout now, and that's working out great. But I still integrate yoga, but I needed it more so when I was going through the beginning stages of
Mm-hmm.
it. And the other thing that was really useful for me for emotional support was positive quotes, self-affirmation,
Mm.
that type of thing. I had like this list. I found like this list of quotes, positive quotes,
Mm-hmm.
and I had them written down on my phone and like in a little note. And I looked at them like every day, every time I felt like I was going into this downward
Mm-hmm.
spiral. And that really helped me pull out of it. And I have to say today, I don't look at them at all. So
Yeah, well, they become a part of you. It's this whole thing of our unconscious mind is talking to us all the time, and sometimes it's not talking the most positive stuff. And
Right.
through using affirmations, we're literally reprogramming that
Yeah.
and saying, I'm not going to receive that thought. I'm not going to receive that negativity today.
Yeah.
That's not the direction I'm going in. And what
Yeah.
I'm reading this book. I've been telling everyone about it. I've been reading this book called Ted, which is a story. It's actually kind of a parable. I think the guy may be in recovery who wrote it, but apparently it's very well known. I don't know why I haven't found it yet, but he's talking all about how the mindset that we approach our day with it colors everything.
Yeah.
So if we're feeling resentful, like we were talking about last night, if we're feeling resentful or victim-y, our whole day is going to be colored by that
Yeah.
victim, and everything's going to look like a trap or an opportunity to get abused. Or if we're resentful, we're gonna be reacting resentfully to everything. And also, studies show that if you start your day with 5 things that you're grateful for, that'll actually reset your mind so that you start being grateful for everything throughout your day, and it
Yeah.
generates a whole different experience. So, long way of saying that act of working with affirmations and sort of combating that negativity, super important.
Totally agree. I actually had downloaded one of those gratitude apps, and it was like every day at 8 o'clock, it would like ping me and say, what are the 3 things you're thankful for? That was helpful too, but I have to admit that I haven't done that in a while. I think I just got through the stage and I just didn't need it anymore. So
Yeah,
I'm not
actually,
in that space like I was back then. So it was very helpful when I was in that space, but I kind of like left it alone.
this thing of taking care of yourself and really taking care of your mindset is so
Yeah.
important in you said you had a very amicable divorce. And
Yeah.
of course, the first place I went as well, they were probably just really nice people. But what I'm hearing now is that you did the things that you needed so that you weren't focusing on what a jerk he is and, how horrible the experience was. You were consciously working at staying focused on the prize, on what's the light at the end of the tunnel, and knowing it's not a train,
Right.
and that's probably contributed so much to it being amicable.
Right. But it's also, it hasn't been consistently that way post, right? So we still have our ups and downs. So I still, I'm
There's a reason why people get divorced.
not coding like a sugar fairy tale story here, but
Yeah,
it's a constant work. Yeah.
yeah, you still need to work things through afterwards. Yeah, actually, that's the piece that I'm always educating people on, is that people think when they sign the divorce papers, oh, finally it's over. But actually, it's really just the beginning, because especially if you have children. If you don't have children, it really is over.
Right.
Like, people who don't have children and get divorced, they may never talk to each other again, and it's fine. But people who
Right.
have children, they're connected through those children
That's
forever.
right.
And so you're still having the same dynamic that you were having when you were married, which is unpleasant. You're just having it a lot less. Now you can go to your own house and close the door,
Yeah.
or you figure out a way around or through that for the sake of your children. It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is challenging, and learning something every day. And then just parenting by itself, forget about whether you're divorced or not. Just we're all new at parenting and figuring out as we go along, and I think whether you're married or divorced, you still have the same parenting issues as your kids' age, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that I always like to make people aware of in the divorce process is when the divorce is over, that's for the children, the worst moment. They think, oh, now things are going to get better. But for the children, the finality of the divorce, all through the divorce, the children are having this weird combination of feeling responsible and hoping that their parents are going to work it out anyway. Even though it might be the worst dynamic, the worst arguments ever, they're still hoping,
Right.
And then when the divorce goes through, they're like, oh, well, that ship has now sailed. And that first year after the divorce ends is when we really need to focus on the kids the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Kids
you're
are
telling me that your kids are in a pod right now, studying right now, so you must have rocked that.
they're teenagers. They just want to be with their friends. So
Normal and natural.
yeah.
Normal and natural. So what is if you were going to go back and change one thing about your divorce, what would it be?
Ooh.
Knowing what you know now, and knowing that that's a ridiculous question to ask because we are where we are.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Like logistically or emotionally?
Whatever fits.
I think logistically, I probably would have taken emotion out of it and would have been smarter about some of the logistical decisions that I made. And instead of, being accommodating, I probably would have tried to listen to my attorney.
Mm.
I don't want to go into any details.
No, no, of course not.
Yeah.
So what it sounds like is, it sounds like some unprocessed feelings may have gotten in the way there.
Just I was more accommodating than I probably should have been. Yeah.
Well,
And I think women in general tend to be that way. And I'm not speaking for everybody, but I just feel like we need to, own our value and worth, and recognize that, realize that, know it, own it, and do what's legally fair and right.
I love that. Super empowering. Very direct, very honest. Thank you. So last question. What's the legacy you want to leave behind?
The legacy I want to leave behind for Chapter 2 Club is, is ongoing. And it's just so that every day, every week, every month, every year, that if a woman is going through a breakup or divorce, that they know they can come to Chapter 2 Club as kind of like the catch-all one-stop shop for women, helping women through this difficult time. And, the ability to know that they're not alone. They've got girlfriends that can help them, whether they're on the East Coast, West Coast, different country, and they can find all the resources they need to kind of get through both the logistical and the emotional process onto their next chapter.
You know what I love about West Coast, East Coast, different country is, I remember when I was going through my divorce, I had phone numbers of people who were in very different time zones, because at 2 a.m. when I needed to talk to someone, I wanted to make sure I wasn't waking them up. So I love that, because by having that diversity of time zones, there's a diverse availability of friends.
Yeah. And really, when it comes down to, we all maybe have different ways of going through breakup or divorce, but we all need resources and support, and so we want to be the place that people can feel comfortable coming to for everything. So.
And one more time, what's the URL for Chapter 2?
It's chapter2club.com. So
that's so easy.
Yeah.
And it'll be in the notes wherever this video blog or podcast appear, and the people on Facebook who are watching now or who will be watching in the future will have it also.
Great.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be getting to know you and to be supportive in this process. I love your mission and what you and your partner are about.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so happy that you get to be one of our contributors on chapter2club.com.
You're a token male.
Oh, yes, you are.
Well, for now. All right. Have a great day.
You too.